guys. Like, I don't know what it is with my network, but let's trust that we'll be fine. Sorry about that. I see James is in the house. Let's do this, guys. Let's do this. James,
Bro,
my
how are
brother.
we?
I'm alright, bro. How's it?
I'm very, very, very well.
Bro, sorry about the network glitches that we had earlier on. I don't know what the problem was, but I'm hoping that we've got a slightly more stable connection right now. Are you up?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. That's all good with me. Don't worry. It's totally fine. Totally fine.
Sending love from South Africa, bro. Shout out to
You
the work,
too.
man.
You too. Yeah, I've actually got quite a lot of followers from South Africa in the community as well. I've got quite a lot of South Africans. I've done a lot of one-to-one with South Africans.
Yeah.
You guys are on the trading, man.
Yeah, well, this is a fairly growing career in SA, which is something that we're really gonna get into later. But man, it's growing. We're becoming, bigger and bigger, getting better and better, you know what I'm saying?
100%, and that's like you're doing great in the industry because there's a lot of rubbish in the industry
Yeah.
everywhere. Now, listen, I'm not here to put anyone down. I never, ever put anyone down. You know, it's too hard to tell.
Yeah.
Like, it's really too hard to tell who is actually legit and who's not. So I just keep myself to myself,
Yeah.
and I rarely follow any traders, but I've followed you for a few years, to be honest with you. A few years. We're very
And
similar in trading. The style we
yeah.
trade, very similar. But yeah, like this week's been really quiet for me in terms of trading. It's only now the dollar's looking to take a U-turn that we
Yeah.
could now start to get some potential great trades in for the rest of the week.
Yeah, man. I truly appreciate you, man. Like as you know, like I always say this to you on the side as well. You're just one of the global traders who are like really legit and are like really keeping it real. So it's very rare to find guys like yourself in the markets who are really, pushing that authenticity, because we've got like a bunch of fake people as you're saying now. So I'm really like very honored to be on this live with you right now, and
Listen,
obviously,
you invited me, and I accepted straight away. You know, like
and I
more
truly
than happy.
appreciate that.
The
Yeah,
thing I do, right, is I never see myself. I appreciate everyone's kind words, and I'm reading the comments right now, and they mean so much to me. But the one
yeah,
thing is, I never think I'm better than anybody else. The reason
yeah,
being is because I was once that person that started with zero knowledge. I never
yeah,
forget that. You know, and a lot of people these days, a lot of traders these days, they forget that they were once these people too. They forget that
true,
they were once these people that were following, like you, I was once following other people, like in the same
yeah,
aspect.
yeah,
And it's
man,
that's why I
I truly
really respect.
appreciate that.
You know, I never feel
Yeah.
that I'm better than anybody, even in my community. Like it's that's the way that it should be.
Yeah, because I mean, we're all on a quest of growth, even when we're at the forefront, but we're basically understanding that, we're all just trying to grow as traders and, we learn every single day. So, I mean, if you get to that point where you think you're better than the next person, then obviously that really crumbles your appetite to really grow as a trader, if you know what I'm saying.
Of course. And
Yeah.
let me tell you something, right? The best
Yeah.
traders in the world, they're not on Instagram. Like
Yeah. That's very true, bro.
they're not on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it's like how there is no like I'm not putting anyone down again, and guys never take that I put anyone down. The number one trading company is probably not on Instagram. The people that teach
Yeah.
like the best traders in the world's not on Instagram, you know. I'm here doing
Yeah.
my part in the industry, just like there is like obviously you've got Nike and Adidas at the top, and then you've got obviously Puma, and then you come down to K Swiss, and then you go down the levels like that. You know, that's just the way that it is, and that's the true
Yeah.
reality and the way that I see things. I would never think that I was ever at the pinnacle, never at the pinnacle. I
Yeah.
even myself now, right? Like
Yeah.
I even make mistakes in my trading.
Yeah.
Everyone does.
Yeah. Everyone does, bro.
Everyone makes mistakes at times. The biggest
Yeah, that's
businesses
very
in the
true.
world make
Yeah,
mistakes.
that's very true, bro.
You just gotta like review it, react, and adapt.
Yeah, yeah. Man, James, I truly appreciate it. You know, as I really know that we caught the followers by surprise because we've really spoken about this on the side, and we just announced it today. And you know, I really appreciate the time to just maybe brief every single one who's on this live. James is on Technical FX, and obviously Technical FX is one of the biggest trading institutions in the world, in my perspective. And you know,
I
I really
appreciate it,
feel,
bro.
you know, I really feel honored to be on this live with you, and obviously having this conversation we're about to have. So, just to maybe give you like a little bit of a background of what I've been trying to do, like an essay. So, I've been in the game for a while now, and I basically, you know, kind of de-associated myself from what's happening, specifically in South Africa. That we've got like a lot of traders who go into the markets with a perspective and a mindset of actually, you know, making quick cash and big money like sooner. You know, I mean, in trading, you are able to make big amounts and big numbers, but that really comes with the time. And when the skill also even grows and, you know, even advances, that's when you start seeing big numbers. So I wanted us to come on this live and basically like, you know, put some pressure on this topic of actually having the great trader's mindset for you to actually get to that specific level where you're now making 6-7 figures per day, or even per week, or even per month. And this is what I want us to basically give back to the community, to say it is possible to get to that level, but you've got to have a certain level of mindset. So I want us to tackle the trader's mindset and basically see how we can basically help, you know, the other trader out there who's actually sitting at home and watching us right now and thinking to themselves that, damn, I've been doing this for long enough and I haven't been seeing like sustainable growth. I haven't been seeing the big numbers. And what can we really say to that person in attempts to basically sharpen their trading psychology as well?
Sure. Now it goes back to how I started this live. Okay,
Yeah.
it goes back to the
Yeah.
fact that everybody starts from zero, and you just need to understand that everyone, everyone has somebody to look up to. Okay, everyone's
Yeah.
got somebody to look up to, and it's natural human. Okay, it's natural human to want to have it now. That's natural.
Yeah.
So nobody should ever put themselves down for wanting to have it now, but you need to accept
Yeah.
that you can't have it now.
Mm.
What you probably don't see in many of the good traders these days is what it took them to get there.
Yeah.
That's what you
Yeah.
didn't see. Now, I've actually been on Instagram for nearly 6 or 7 years,
Yeah.
and that's why I've done like 2.5, maybe even more now. I don't even know how many posts I've done.
Yeah.
But I always documented everything. And if you went back to the start of my Instagram, you would see that I was shit. Like, I was rubbish. You know,
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing. That is the true
Yeah.
reality of it. When you go
Yeah.
back 7 years ago on my Instagram, I didn't know what I was doing. So that's number one, is understanding it, accept that just because you're coming into the industry, you are going to be at the bottom. Okay, you are going to be at the bottom, and it takes time. So I've been in the industry 7 years. Took me a long time to get here. Okay, very long time to
Yeah.
get here. Within terms of the psychological mindset, now I understand this from a lot of people's perspective in South Africa, because I've
Yeah.
done a lot of one-to-ones with people in South Africa,
Yeah.
and I never put anyone down, as I always say, but I understand people in South Africa need money more than other people in not everyone in the world, but more people in the
Yeah.
world, right? Now, I get this
Yeah.
because I've had one-to-one conversations with people, and I've said it to them, and they said to me, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But you've got to walk before you run. And this is actually, the psychological part is the hardest thing to actually teach a trader.
Yeah.
Now, if I told you this, that the biggest hedge funds, now hopefully a lot of your followers know what hedge funds are in institutions and things like that. The biggest
Yeah.
institutions and hedge funds in the world, they only look to make like 30% max in a year.
Yeah. Huge.
Okay. So if we're if we're looking at 30% max in a year, people elsewhere in the world are trying to make 100% on their trading account in a day.
Yeah.
So when you put that into reality, it doesn't work.
True.
It doesn't work. You've got to look at the bigger picture, right? So what I do is I say to people, break it down. So when you start to break it down and you start to say to yourself, if I can consistently make just go with 1% a week to start with.
Yeah.
Make 1%. Now that's what I risk. So if you risk 0.5% and you go for like a 1 to 2 and make 1% in a week,
yeah,
just continue, just grow that for a bit at 1%. And then risk 1% and go for 2%. If you can make 2% a week, like you're a very good, like in the long run, if you went to an investor, it's great trading returns. Now, people look at the FTMO, right? You know what FTMO is.
Yeah.
The traded accounts, okay? Now, people look at FTMO and they say, you got to make 10% in 30 days. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But break it down. The only reason it's ridiculous is because the people are taking too many trades.
Yeah.
If you break it down to 2.5% a week, you've got a lot more better chance at doing it than if you're just trying to smash the 10% in a day or the 10% in a week.
Yeah.
Too many people are focused on now rather than the bigger picture.
Here, I think I like that point where you're saying you gotta walk before you run, like, and that's like the biggest thing that basically keeps people in the same space and the same level in trading. That we get into trading because we want to make it big. I mean, all of us come into trading because we really want to see our lives changing. We really want to see, you know, our pockets getting bigger and, you know, being able to afford even better things. But I think the fact that we want to attain these things now basically keeps us like stagnant around about the same area, because we come into small accounts and we risk big to make big gains, and you find that we keep on blowing accounts time and time again, and as a result we're really not moving, if you know what I'm saying. Like, we're just running in circles. You'll be finding again making that 10% per day, or even 100% a day, and then the next day you blow the whole account. Like, you just keep on moving 10 steps forward and coming back 11 steps backwards.
100%.
Where you started at. So I think that's the biggest thing that I really need us to tackle tonight, because as I'm saying, bro, like, I'm going to speak from a South African perspective, where I've had a lot of guys coming to me for my course, and obviously having to see how they're thinking and how they basically want to attain you know, big figures quicker than actually having to attain consistency and growing the craft of trading, and basically look into smashing, take profits. You know, if your stop loss hits, make sure that you don't basically lose the whole account, but you lose a certain portion of the account you're willing to lose. I wanted to basically tackle that and actually focus on
well, put it like this, okay?
You know,
I always treat trading like a business. That's the difference. Like, treat trading like a business. So if I was running a business, am I going to do a deal that could potentially lose me my whole business?
Yeah. Huge.
No. I'm not going to do a deal
profound,
that could potentially lose me my whole business.
Yeah.
So why would I take a trade that could potentially lose me my whole account?
Huge,
it's all in the risk. This is where I say, right, any person can learn technical analysis. Anyone can learn an entry strategy. The key of it is the numbers game. And it's the numbers game that I always repeat. The numbers game. Like, that is the true reality of it. Treat it like a business. Understand the numbers game. The numbers game was the 1% every week. Do that every week in a year. That's 52% return in a year. People, like, forget everyone else on Instagram. You don't know whether it's true. You don't know what they're making. Listen, the biggest thing that you guys can probably do is unfollow every trader on Instagram and focus on your own trading results. That is the biggest thing you can probably do.
True. Yeah.
Like, And
I think,
even me included, if you unfollow me, at the end of the day, I want everyone to win. So because I want everyone to win, it would never bother me. If you came back to me in 6 months and said, dude, I unfollowed everyone, including you, and now I'm winning, fucking hats off, my man.
yeah, I think one of the biggest questions that would come is, especially from like a non-privileged background where you've got people, investing little amounts into the markets and obviously looking at that 50% returns per annum. You find that someone invests like $100 to make up $50 per annum. How would you tackle that? Because from that perspective, you'd say, $50 per annum. Like, if I'm
Focus on the
really trying to
skill.
take my, you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Focus
I
on the
need to
skill,
take
right?
advantage of that.
So the reason
Yeah,
you need to focus on the skill is
yeah,
because, so David Beckham, he worked on his skill for probably 14 years before he
hmm
made it.
yeah,
He worked on his skill for probably 14 years. Now, guys, I don't know whether that's the actual fact, but just think of what you didn't see. Okay? Ronaldo worked on his skill for all those years before he made it. So work on the skill. Just really work on the skill and repeat, repeat, repeat. And in the
yeah. I think,
meantime, save
yeah,
capital. Because at the end of the day, what you're saying to me is $100 is all they can afford, right?
yeah.
So making $50 is better to them than losing 100.
True. That's very
So
true, sir.
focus on the skill and build yourself over time. Save money over time. Like if I've seen people here like go against being funded by FTMO. There's other funding companies, but if people are against funding, then work your
hmm
arse off. Get 2 jobs. Like do what it needs to do. Stop living your life with Gucci t-shirts. Stop that shit to be able
Yeah.
to save the money.
Mm.
Like
So, yeah, I
that's what I
think,
that's
I
what I that's what I say.
Yeah, I think you're coming with a very interesting point. Like, and this is just me coming and also adding on to what you're saying. Obviously, to most people who are basically like not in a good position to find in big amounts, because I mean, it makes sense if you're making, 5% per annum. If you've got like a 6-figure account, a 7-figure account, like then that makes sense because then you're having that investor mindset. But from like the retail trader's perspective and someone who's saying, I can only afford $100 and I really need to see my life changing. I really need to get to that point of being able to afford. I think the biggest thing right now is that you really focus on growing the craft so much that you've got really minimal losses from your predictions, and you can basically scale up your risk a little bit, not even risking the whole account, knowing very well that whatever loss you're going to have
Of
is not
course.
going to be a loss that's going to take up the whole account, because the main is to keep on growing and moving forward and not just to work, like backwardly, like where you keep on blowing accounts and refunding. The other day I said a statement, and obviously like most people didn't even believe in what I said. I said it's very possible that you get to a point where you find $100 in your life and you never ever find again. You know what I'm saying? And people didn't really believe that because, I mean, for someone out there having $100 account, they seeing me holding $500 profits or even 5,000 or 10,000, whatever profits I'm holding, and they come and they say, but how do I get to that level if I'm not trying to blow this account? Like, I really want to risk more and basically make whatever it is you're making from the same account equity and stuff like that. So I really need us to talk about that as well.
So what's it like in terms, so it's tricky because I don't know how people manage their trades.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how people manage their trades. Like you got to be strict with your risk management. Just be straight on the risk management of
Yeah.
stop to break even, banking partial profits. Like as soon as you start to do that, you'll
Yeah.
be so much better off. So you can risk 2%, but move stop to break even, bank partial profits. You can risk 2.5%. But like at
Yeah.
the end of the day, for people that don't have money, Martin, like I always say, focus on the craft. Just
True.
focus on the craft. work super hard, and I know it's tricky and it's harsh, but there's no other way.
True, man.
There's no other way. Like,
And I think this is really what's lacking in the industry, because then, as you said when you were starting on that, you know, most Instagram traders show you the end results and never really show you the process. And this is why then everyone comes into trading, because they see, like, you know, the finished pie, and they want to come and basically have their own pie. But like, there was a whole process in between making that pie, you know what I'm saying? And this is what people need to understand, that when you get into the field of trading, you are going to get to that level where you're comfortable in life and you're making big figures, but there's a whole process in between. Like, you can't
and
cheat the
it's
element
like the
of time,
examples
like
I
you should
gave
say.
you. You know, it's like the examples I
Yeah.
gave you, and you can look at so many other examples. Not only with footballers and things like that, in businesses. Like, look how long it took Amazon to get to where it is, but people
Yeah.
forget that part. Like, just look at how long it took everything to get to where it is.
True.
You know, it takes time. Everything takes time. Like, school takes time to learn something. Everything takes time. I don't know why people don't accept that in trading. It's no different. There is no shortcut. There will never ever be any shortcut. It only comes, like, you can learn the skill and you can learn the entry technique and the risk management, but shit only comes with experience.
Yeah.
Shit,
And I
it
think,
comes with
yeah.
experience. Without experience, then there's nothing.
Yeah, and I think the more experience you're gaining as you're growing as a trader, like, you kind of get to that point where you're comfortable to risk slightly more than you had been risking, obviously, in the beginning phases, and which is why then we see, like, pro traders on Instagram risking slightly more than we're able to risk, and obviously making more, and we're thinking to ourselves that I want to be that guy, like, I want to make that $100,000 a day, you know, from whatever accounts I
For
may
me,
have that
it's
time. You
the
know what I'm saying?
opposite for me, bro. Bro, for me, it's the
Yeah.
opposite. Bigger the account, the smaller the risk, because the bigger the return.
Yeah, that's very true, bro.
For me, it's the opposite. Like, the number one thing that you do with everything is you limit your
Yeah.
risk.
Hmm.
That's the number
You know,
one thing.
I read a quote today just before this live, and I really thought to myself, this is quite an interesting perspective of trading. That person had written on their story is that I really focus on risking less. Like, on whatever trade I go into, I focus on risking less. And whatever gains I make, I don't really look into that. I always look into making sure that whatever amount I'm willing to risk on this trade is very little. And this is what people are missing, because we always have the end result in our heads, but we never really think of the negative side of it. That Forex and trading is just a game of probabilities. You know what I'm saying? You could come in one
Numbers.
time and you're predicting that the market is going to go up, and it really pushes down. And you're not thinking of the implications that could come with you losing a trade, and you're just thinking about how much I'm gonna make if this trade hits 50 pips. You know what I'm saying? And this is what really kills a lot of traders, because we look too much into the good side of things, if I may put it that way, and we never really look too much into what could happen if this trade doesn't really play out. How much am I willing to lose on this trade? And we end up having a cycle of traders who keep on blowing accounts, changing institutions, going to this guy, going to that guy, because they probably feel like what I'm doing is not enough, to only find out that the only thing that's lacking in their level of consistency is just the amount of risk that they go into every single trade.
Listen, what you're saying is so true, because the amount of people that eventually understand the numbers game and eventually start to manage their risk and things like that, they come back to me in the DMs and they say, you was right. Like, there is so many great traders. The main
Yeah,
thing killing them is the risk.
true,
That's all it
bro.
is. And what happens is they'll risk 1%, 1%, 1%. They'll have wins. Then they'll decide, right, I'm on a streak. Next trade, I'm going to do 5%. Boom. Lost all their profit.
Yeah.
Forex Philly, I'm definitely not bored in the house, bro.
The comments in here, bro.
It's
So
good,
I think,
Charlie. How we doing? It's nice to see some of you here. Alan, what's happening, mate?
yeah, I think like in our perspective, like this is really what I'm trying to tackle mostly to our South African guys, that like we go into trading and we treat it as gambling, because then we come in and we keep on funding and we keep on funding and we keep on funding, and you find that at the end of the day you're really exhausting your pockets and you're not really going anywhere. And if you can really start on sharpening your risk management, you can really see yourself moving.
Listen, I was once the same. Look, I started the live with this, right? I was
Yeah.
once these guys did the same thing. Traded with no stop loss. I lost a trade, I upped my lot size. Like I was losing a trade, I would add to a losing position. I only know this because I've been there and I've done it. As soon
Yeah.
as I stopped doing that and I focused on just my risk and everything like that, kaboom. And now I'm here today after growing and saving money and building my account and building my skill and repeat. I've blown accounts. Like I'm not here to, I never hide anything. I'm just like anybody else. My journey started just like anybody else. I was just early on in the game. And like 7 years ago, I started on Instagram. There was not many people on Instagram doing I never started to teach. I never started to
Yeah.
teach. I always used to sit back and say to myself, if all these people are so successful traders, why do they teach? And that's why I never took a course. And that's why I always self-taught myself. And the only reason I do teach is because of the demand came to me. And once I then taught people, it felt good for me. I'm never here
Yeah.
putting a sale. I don't put a sale on my course or anything like that to bring people in, because for me, it's not about that. For me, it's creating traders for people that actually want to create traders. I do a free
Yeah.
call with every single one of my students before they join, because I want to make sure that they know what they're getting themselves into. It's not just
Yeah.
about the numbers, it's actually, it's such a long process. And the one thing that I would tell a lot of your followers to do is, before you even open that live account, if you don't want to blow it, make sure you back test.
That's
Like back
very true.
testing will build so much confidence, will prove to you what works, prove to you what doesn't work. It will prove to you that you will have losing streaks. It proves to you that you'll have winning streaks, prove to you that you will have break-even streaks. It will prove so much to you. It will show you what markets are for you and what markets aren't for you. There's
Yeah.
nothing better than just back testing. And people say, but that's long. Yeah, well, if you find it back testing long, then you're not here for the long run. Like you can actually go back and back test. Say you back test 4 months worth of data per night. You
Yeah.
can back test nearly that's 120 months worth of data in
True.
1 month. Like in
Yeah.
1 month, 120 months worth of data. Work out if your stuff works. Like I read a comment that said for me to stop swearing because you're a pastor, bro. So I just stopped myself.
bro, I'm fine. I'm cool. I'm relaxed, bro.
So it's like
I'm
work out
chill,
if you're
bro. Be yourself, man. Don't worry about it.